Hey guys, what's up? It's Alberto here with another episode of the Wednesday training. I don't know how to call them, but here we are, no matter what, trying to work out strategies and share resources and tips and content to help you guys improve sales performance. And if you remember, last week we do this every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. UK time. We had a look at the fourth step of our revenue builder program, which helps technology companies grow sales in 90 days by following these 9 steps that you see on screen. We looked at how to access decision makers, and today we're going to talk about how to uncover value once you've actually accessed those decision makers. So, what we're going to be discussing is basically common problems in uncovering value, some of the negative implications if you don't accurately uncover value, what is the possibility that you can get to if you implement the tips, advice, and tools that we're going to cover today, the positive outcomes of doing so. We're going to talk a little bit about value fundamentals in the sales process. We're going to talk about the 2 types of value. We're going to be sharing some tips for building financial value and business value as well. Actually, financial value and personal value. There's a typo there. And we're going to be sharing with you a tool that's going to actually help you improve your sales performance by accurately learning how to uncover value in your business conversations. And it's a tool that you can use to improve sales performance yourself if you're a techie founder, really good at your domain expertise, but perhaps you recognize that you need a little bit of help from a sales perspective. Also, if you are already a founder and you already have a sales team and you're looking to give them tools to help them improve their performance, this is for you. And finally, if you're thinking of hiring your first salesperson and you're looking to build a playbook that you can share with them so that they can ramp up quicker, start selling quicker with less risk, and also while dedicating less of your time in doing so that you can dedicate your time to running your business as well, this is also for you. So let's crack on. Right. Okay, so if you have been, if you are in sales, in technology sales, you probably have been in a situation where you're trying to convince prospects about the value of your solution to them. And some people do that by showing presentations and trying to wow people instead of asking what that value would look like for them. Sometimes salespeople in technology struggle to communicate the value that you will indeed bring to the table, not because you're not trying, but because that somehow doesn't resonate with the person that you're trying to sell to, which causes prospects to become demotivated or not motivated enough to go ahead with your offering. And the problem here really is that if you continue to work on this fashion, you're likely to work on opportunities, invest time, effort, resources, and there's also the opportunity cost of not working on other opportunities that you could be actually closing, because the reason why those opportunities might not close is because they either fail to recognize that you have something that's delivers a bigger ROI than the cost of the solution, or even if you deliver a massive ROI, you're kind of going against of the personal motivations of the people that you're trying to sell to. And this is something that happens quite often, right? At least it's happened to me in the past when I'm trying to sell a solution. I go through this massive sales cycle. We build the business case, we show value. And then at the end of the sales cycle, turns out that they don't want to do it because, whatever reason, because it goes against, they could lose their job or whatever it might be. In fact, I just came off the phone with a client. An opportunity. It was a coaching call, and the client told us that they wanted to work with us, but in 3 months. And then we started trying to handle the objection. And okay, is it because of this? Is it because of this? Is it because of this? And we we kind of got to the point where, and it looks like the person wanted to have a nice summer holiday, and they probably think that if they buy now, they couldn't do that. And that's fair enough, right? So that's something that you need to watch out for. It's a reality, and look, I respect them. That's completely fine. Luckily, we qualified that early in the process. But my point is, if you go against the uh, nobody will make a decision to work with you if that goes against them, if there's nothing, if there isn't something in it for them, right? Everybody's favorite radio station is W2FM, which is what's in it for me. So yeah, that could happen, but there's also a possibility where you know what's going on. Yeah, so you know what questions you need to be asking to qualify really early in the process, like we did with my client, whether that's going to deliver value or whether you should move on and reach out later. Where you clearly can articulate what's in it for them, because you ask the questions, if you build a report and you've implemented some of the tips and advice that we're going to go through in a second. And finally, where those people are motivated to work with you, and guys, this is good. Why is this good? Because you know that if you focus on opportunity where you've managed to uncover value, you will be more likely to close those deals, right? Because there's value for the business and value for the actual person that you're trying to sell to. So that's all good. How do you do that, right? So what are the two types of value that we need? So first of all, let's talk a little bit about the fundamentals of value, right? So what is value? So some things that we need to consider is that everyone makes decisions and justifies those decisions differently, right? What's value to you is not necessarily value for me. So if you go always showing value with the same pitch, you're just kind of throwing up and hoping that that's going to resonate to them. Everyone is motivated by different things, and those aren't necessarily the things that motivate you or motivate me. This value is specific for each person, right? And the problem is most people just talk about what they think the value is going to be for the customer, and it goes completely over their heads. And it doesn't matter how many times you tell a prospect that look at this is valuable, this is super valuable, this is valuable. They're not going to believe you. You cannot tell a person what value is. You can only discover what that value might be. How? Through questions. Very easy. I'm going to share some of those questions at the end of the workshop as well, so that you can walk away with that in your toolkit. So, what is our job as salespeople? Our job is to understand the impact that our solution is going to have for the business we're trying to sell to in financial terms, but also what's in it for them, for the person, the contact, ideally the decision maker that we're talking to, right? So that's about value. What types of value are there? So we talked about value for the business and value for the individual. So the value for the business is basically solving the problems that they're currently experiencing. And by solving those problems, you're going to help them achieve certain objectives. And those objectives should be easily quantified. Yeah, more revenue, less cost, less risk, whatever that may be. And so, from a financial value perspective, as I mentioned before, there's three things that they're going to really care about. Yeah, so it's going to be more revenue, more profits or margins, and reduction in operating expenses or reduction in risk. Yeah, so those four things mainly. From an individual perspective, however, there's other things that you need to try and uncover in those conversations to try and understand what's in it for them. And look, this isn't easy. It requires finesse. You need to build rapport with those people. You need to care. You need to ask questions. But ultimately, if you have to be brave. If you don't ask for, if you don't know what's in it for them, it's very likely that they're not going to move ahead with the project, because guess what? People, even if there's value for the business, uh, as I said before, they're not going to move ahead with the purchase if it goes against their personal interests. So, what are the things that you need to look for when trying to gauge that personal value? Obviously, money. So, for instance, some of my clients, if they hit certain KPIs and objectives, their prospects and clients get a bonus, right? So that happens a lot in telecommunications. When you hit certain NPS goals, then the directors take home a bonus. So that's something that you could try and engage. Yeah, being really careful and obviously waiting for the right moment to do that. Status, yeah. So this is going to make them look like heroes in their organization, or maybe self-perception. Yeah, so I want to be the guy who brings this transformation to my business, and I'm going to be perceived, as I want to see myself as an innovator, right? Or security, job security. So maybe they think if they actually pull this off, if they buy from you, they're going to achieve more security in their jobs. They'll be able to keep their jobs. They'll be able to, become stronger in their organization, which now is kind of important, right? With what's happening out there. So okay, so that's that. So not yet. Let's talk a little bit about what we were talking about. So okay, in a nutshell, two things that we need to walk away with. So value for the business and value for the individual. And I know this might seem might be intuitive, and this is nothing new, but guess what? Most salespeople don't do it, and the reason why they don't do it is because maybe they're not brave enough to do it, or they forget to do it. And so we always talk about checklists and how checklists help save lives, and how pilots use checklists to not crash and all that. So there's really two questions, two checklists, two boxes that you need to tick with every sales opportunity, and you need to ask yourselves those questions when you are evaluating that opportunity yourself, and hopefully in your CRM. And those questions are as follows, as you can see there. So have they told you, value for the business, have they told you that the return of investment is bigger than the cost of your solution? So there's one thing that they need to tell you. And the other one is, Do you know what's in it for them? Do you know the personal motivations for those people? What's in it for them, basically? And guys, if you find that out, yeah, if you discover that, you're done. Because value is basically one times the other. Yeah. Value for the business times value for the individual. And why is that so? Why is there a multiplier? Because if you don't get either of them, if either of them is zero, then there's no value, basically. Because if there's financial value but no personal value, the person won't go ahead. But if there's personal value but there's no value for the business, it might go ahead, the deal, but it's going to be tricky, right? I would argue the most important thing is the value for the individual, the person that you're talking to, right? And that's why you need to try and uncover that value. So just to recap, value drivers for individual would be money, status, self-perception, security. For businesses, increased revenue, increased profit or margins, reduction in operating expenses, and the individual values, as you can see in that scale, the individual value is always more important than the value for the business, right? Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Quickly in the comments, let me know what are the challenges that you see in uncovering value for the business, and what are some of the techniques that you've used and that you can recommend to others when it comes to uncovering value for the business, whether that's financial or you know eh, or for the individual that you're trying to sell to. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. I also mentioned that I wanted to share with you a tool that we put together to help you qualify deals, and there's a checklist incorporated there that you can use to gauge your to evaluate your deals, and it's a simple checklist with yes or no answers, yes or no questions that you need to ask yourself and your sales team to really be sure that the deal is qualified, and to improve the predictability of the business that you close. That again is going to lead to better planning, better growth, and potentially looking for investment. If that's an avenue that you want to pursue, you need to be able to show predictability in the revenue in your sales. So with that in mind, we put together this list, this checklist, this tool that I'm going to share with you in a second. And it's actually quite useful stuff. Yeah. So the feedback that we're getting is quite good. So in there you get a recap of all the good stuff that we've been talking about. You get explanations of what's what, and also you get some sample questions that you can use in your conversations with prospects, tips to help you uncover value, and the final checklist that I mentioned before, which is ultimately the honest questions that you need to ask yourself if you own the opportunity, or the people that you're coaching, your team, if you're trying to help improve the performance of those guys. And ultimately, it's something that you will have to build if you are building a playbook, if you're thinking of hiring salespeople, and you're trying to do so in a way that's scalable, in a way that reduces risk, in a way that allows you to dedicate some of your time to growing your business as well, right? So by implementing this methodology, guys, what you'll get is you'll be able to progress deals faster and more efficiently if you're doing it yourself. If you're helping out a team, you'll be able to help them progress deals faster, more efficiently, qualify better, and also free yourself some time to dedicate to work on your business as opposed to be pursuing opportunities and coaching people or working with salespeople all of the time. And finally, if you're hiring, uh, this is something that you need to get ready so that your team can hit the ground running, understanding how you do those things for your clients, right? So this is the basic step for building a playbook. Obviously, it's not everything that you need to do, but um, a lot of it is right there. Cool. So hopefully that makes sense. I just wanted to recap then what the things that we talked about today. So we talked about some of the common problems in uncovering value, negative implications, possibility if you do things right, if you implement this tool that I shared with you and these concepts, the positive outcomes that you'll get, the fundamentals of value, types of value, tips for getting those values, and the tool, which I'm going to share with you at the end of this conversation, right? Um, and spoiler alert, next week, next Wednesday, what we're going to be doing is talking about step 6 of the Revenue Builder program, which is in fact one of my favorite steps because is, if you look at that, it's agree plan. So we looked at uncover value today. Next week we're going to talk about agree plan. And the reason why agree plan is so important is sometimes we try to sell to people and we have a good feeling and we know we're sure that we have a solution to the problems that's meaningful, that's valuable, that we're talking to decision makers and so on. And the problem is we haven't worked out what are the things that they need to see to buy from us. And what happens is we start jumping through hoops and then things get out of hand and we give, and then prospects continue to ask for more. And then 6 months later, you're still showing obvious, still showing value, and they're not sure. So the thing that you need to do right at the back of starting an opportunity is to agree on the steps, agree on a plan of the things that you need to show them so that they buy from you. And that's something that we're going to be covering in our next session on Wednesday. Excellent. So unless you guys have any questions for me, I think we're going to wrap it up here. We're going to keep it short and sweet, 23 minutes. Again, thank you so much for your time, guys. If this is valuable, please shoot me a comment, show me some love. And look, I do it because I love it anyway. And I know there's some guys giving me good feedback on LinkedIn by private message. So, and on Facebook as well by private message. So I appreciate you guys. I hope this content is useful. Let me know your thoughts. Please comment there with what things you would change, what things are working for you when trying to uncover value, and I'll be delighted to answer and help in any way I can. Thank you so much, and have a great day. See you next week.